Hi, Luke from Korg here. I'm here at the GAK studio and we've got something very exciting today. It's the ARP 2600. We've reissued it in full size glory. We just tweaked a couple of things. So we've given you XLR outs now. We've also added USB and MIDI to bring it into line with modern production techniques. And we've also added Aftertouch onto the keyboard. Obviously full size keys. And there's another couple of tweaks here on the control panel, but pretty much it's identical to the original first revision of the ARP 2600 from back in 1971. There were actually 3 versions of it originally. This is the styling of the very first one, and there were 2 different filters as well. And we've added both of those in here as well, just at the flick of a switch, so you can choose your favourite one. So it's a semi-modular synth. So what that means is everything is pre-patched behind the scenes. So you don't need to do any patching to get sound out of it. But when you do start using these patch cables, then you can start rerouting the signals and getting some even more interesting stuff happening, as well as plugging in an external device as well, because it has its own preamp built in as well. So you can plug in an external instrument, guitar, mic, a line signal, and then start sculpting that alongside the ARP 2600 sounds. So let's delve in and have a little bit of a listen. We've got a 3 VCO or oscillator synth here, and they're all given their sections. So at the moment, we're just going to listen to VCO 1, which is a square wave. I can tune it here. I can also change waveform if I want to. So if I wanted to sawtooth wave, I can just come out of this patch point into here, and then that'll override that square wave with a sawtooth wave. Very easy indeed. If I want to add a second oscillator, I can just bring up the mixer here. So you can hear that the sound's beefed up even more there. Again, lots of different waveforms we can change by using the same technique, and we can balance the levels of them here. So these waveforms pictures here tell you what it is by default. Oscillator 3 is a saw wave by default. And as you can hear, I've tuned that an octave lower by using these tuning sliders. So we can easily, if I listen to these 2 on their own, detune them very quickly. You've also got a noise generator as well. So you can make those sound effects and kind of white noise sounds as well, should you want to, with the noise generator. Follow the signal path from left to right, and that's actually quite an important point, because originally this was designed to aid with teaching synthesis, and it's an amazing platform for that, because it's really logically laid out signal flow from left to right, all with dedicated controls. Of course, the keyboard here is a separate unit, and it's connected via this cable which comes included. So although it sometimes can look like it's all one thing, it is actually 2 separate components, and it comes in a full case, which you get the lid for both components, and it comes with a massive flight case as well to put the whole thing in, which is really nice. So following the signal flow from left to right, we've got our filter. With resonance, of course. You can also send the filter to one of the 2 envelopes if you want to. So I've got the ADSR here, as you can see, going to, I've got the filter going to the ADSR just there, and then this is the curve of the filter. And we've got our regular envelope here, so if we wanted to add a little bit of release to it. Then you're into your VCA section. So at the moment I've got the filter sent to the VCA and the attack release envelope and nothing else. And then finally, this is the overall level, if you like, or your volume at the end of the signal flow. If you want to, you can just turn up the VCF to give you a drone. So that's a really nice way of just getting the sound going and then just tweaking it out if you need to, so you can do it kind of without needing to trigger the keyboard, which is cool. Down the bottom here, we've got noise generators and sample and hold. Sample and hold's really nice, and you can send that to any oscillator just via these faders. So if we turn up the rate and the level here, and the noise generator. So if you send it just to oscillator 1, you can get this sort of sound. Okay, so those kind of sounds you're hearing there with the sample and hold, you might have recognised it a little bit, because that was actually the sound similar to what Ben Burt did with the R2-D2 sound from Star Wars, because he actually used an ARP 2600 to create that sound along with his own voice, which was processed via the preamp here. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing for the ARP 2600. What's nice as well is that you can take the sample and hold and apply it to not just the pitch, but also the filter, for example, via patching. So if I take one of these patch cables, I can go sample and hold out into the filter section, turn up the level, and then you've got this kind of thing going on. Let's bring in the other oscillators. What we've also got is a spring reverb. And of course you can change the rate. Or you could clock that to the LFO in here as well. So I can just go LFO out, into external clock in, into the sample and hold. Now it's the LFO that's controlling the rate of the sample and hold. While we're looking at this side of the keyboard, we've got other features on here, including portamento. So you can do that really nice glide effect. Show you how that works. So if you've just got a regular single oscillator here, let's go for, so we'll go for our saw wave here. Turn on the portamento, and then I can adjust the rate of that, or I can just make it happen momentarily just by using the button here. I've got a pitch bend as well, so I can bend the pitch really easily, and I've got an arpeggiator built in, which is really cool. So let's bring back a different oscillator. Let's just have a square wave now. If I want to arpeggiate that, I'm going to go and just turn it on to up and down. The speed is dictated by the LFO right here, and I'm going to latch it as well. Also cool, I've got a recorder in here, so I can record a bunch of notes. So let's bring in some different sounds here. So I'll play a bunch of notes and then I'll put it into play and it'll play those notes back. So that's really good if you've got a specific arpeggio pattern in mind rather than just a straight up and down or random pattern. So there it is, the ARP 2600 in all its full-size glory, following in the footsteps from the ARP Odyssey, which we reissued a couple of years ago. We've now got the ARP 2600 with a few minor improvements, but basically it's the same as the one which was issued in 1971. If you need any other details about it, go to the GAK website where you can see all the details.